is not pressing. Hold on. No, stop.
It is Friday. That was a long intro. The drummer's probably getting tired. By the way, that music, from time to time we get asked, who is that? Laugh at the Fakes is the name of the band. Actually in the west end of Toronto, sort of the, I think, the Etobicoke area. They're fantastic. This is the one song that we play. It's obviously the theme song for rawmike.richards.com. But they got a lot of stuff, and we got to implement more of their music because they're very, very, very good. Coming up on today's show, we've got lots of excitement. In just a couple of seconds, I'll let you know why. It's going to be a huge show. Yesterday ended up being actually a massive show. The appearance by the fake Mike Babcock actually kind of ruffled some feathers, too. I guess there's a couple of people a little sensitive. You know, I guess when they go to YouTube or the internet and see the name Raw Mike Richards and then think that Mike Babcock is going to show up on the show and talk openly about contracts and the players that he doesn't like, and then you get all fucking mad. You're like, this is bullshit, man. This is fucking stupid. I'm like, yeah. You know who's stupid? You got a mirror? Do you seriously think that he was coming into a show that's out of a bar with a guy named Raw Mike Richards? And Babcock's going to come in there and start talking about the guys that he thinks he did a shit deal with. You're right. Someone's stupid, and it's you. Now, the reason that this is going to be a very exciting show, and I feel it's sort of like, I feel like what Ed Sullivan must have felt like when the Beatles showed up for the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, are we ready with the cameras? Are we ready with the cameras? We're ready with the cameras. David Bastel, who's away today, doing something probably... Well, it's important if Dave's not here. But who is the co-host for the first time ever in the history of rawmikerichards.com? It is Jimmy the Bag.
Blah, blah, blah. Feels good.
Look at that. Look at you moving up in the world. You're a very popular guy right now, I got to tell you.
Dave is shaking in his boots, man.
Yeah,
Someone's
I know.
going to usurp.
Usurp. Did you learn that in Minden last night? Because I don't think they talk like that.
They don't. They don't in Northern Ontario.
So, yeah, and that's the thing, too, by the way, that you had a gig last night in Minden, and then you came in for this.
Yeah, man. Just the hottest spots, man. Just the hottest cities for me, man.
Well, we got lots to talk about today. We're going to talk, obviously, a little bit of baseball as we get into an all-star, weekend. And for the most part, I think a lot of people might feel this way. I don't know how you feel, but like most all-star formats now in almost any sport I can think of, I don't watch them. I can't watch. Well, the NFL has been gone from me from almost. I can't watch the Pro Bowl game.
It's awful, and hockey has become
same thing.
way. Yeah,
same way. It's a joke. And I used to like the basketball, but the thing with the slam dunk contest, I think people are tired of it.
hard to stay original.
Yeah, here I'm just gonna move this a little closer.
Hard to stay original with the dunking.
Like they pretty much. I mean, you think about what guys can do. Like Levine in that dunk a couple of years ago in Toronto, and that slam dunk competition was the best one I think we've had in years.
Absolutely.
But what else are you going to do now? Because I don't like the gimmicky. I mean, when Dwight put on the cape and all that stuff and putting stickers on, and like, what do you do now?
Well, for whatever reason, there's no respect for someone 6'8" or taller dunking anymore. You need to be tiny.
Yeah.
You know, you need the visual of a small guy soaring through the air. Dwight Howard's a giant.
Yeah.
So seeing him dunk, it's just boring.
It does seem to be, and the one thing that seems to stand out now is that the baseball All-Star game actually means something. If you win it, it means something for your division.
Well, they canceled that this year.
So that means
it's over.
They're not doing it this year.
It's an exhibition game again for the first.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
It's an exhibition game. Yeah, there's nothing up for grabs.
Why would they change that? I thought that's the one thing they go, okay, you kind of want to play now because it means something.
Yeah. It's it doesn't make sense. I don't think to have so much on the line in an exhibition. I mean,
so you don't like the fact there was something on the line.
I don't. I think 162 game season, you should earn home field advantage in the World Series. I always felt that way, and having an exhibition control it was just. I didn't think it made sense.
Okay, so that's gone. But the one thing I would say about the home run derby is that a lot of times when there's guys in there that you're not that interested in, you still kind of watch it because it's sort of like, I mean, they're not trying to do like in a dunk competition. There's only so much you can do. Home run, that's it. You either hit a home run or you're not. But this year, I mean,
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is in that thing, and Bellinger's in that too, correct?
Yeah, Cody's in it. Yeah, but Judge, man, there hasn't been a performance since Josh Hamilton in New York, in Bronx, when Josh Hamilton hit 55, 60, when he took a few years off the crack pipe. And Judge can break that. Judge can hit 60.
Well, you know, and I think too, like, was it Carlo Stanton? What am I thinking of?
Giancarlo Stanton?
Yeah. He's in that too this year, is he not?
He is, and he's a monster. He can, but no one's going to. Judge is just a step above, man. 6'7". Oh, he's 29 home runs he's got right now. So he's already tied the Yankees rookie record for home runs.
I mean, you're tying Joe DiMaggio. I mean, it's who doesn't know that name? Like, there's sometimes you go, well, by the way, that walk, he's now walked more times than Fred Giflinks.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't think Freddie's mark was ever going to fucking go down, but that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it's a walk.
And tying Joe DiMaggio before the All-Star break?
I know. It's amazing.
It's incredible.
Now, you made a prediction. Okay, maybe we should show the comeback first. So the Dodgers are down in the ninth. Is it in the ninth? And this is a team that, I don't know. I mean, some people did not see it coming, but we'll talk about those that did. But we're going into the ninth, and another walk-off. But for a Dodger team, once again, this is courtesy of property of Major League Baseball. They do it in the ninth inning, and I don't know what this team is. Is this a team of destiny? I don't know. You decide.
McFarland and Taylor. Fly ball, and that's the ball game.
Oh.
Dodgers sweep three.
And now where's Vin Scully going? And that's the ball game. And there the Dodgers win once again in the ninth inning. Yeah, wow. But someone on this show said that the Los Angeles Dodgers would win the World Series. Who was that?
That was Jimmy the Bag.
Jimmy the Bag.
Yeah, I called the Dodgers. I put 300 on the Dodgers to win the World Series, 300 to win the NL.
What does that pay?
I've got to look it up. I believe it was 11 or 12 to 1 to win the World Series. I believe.
Nice. $300 bucks, 12 to 1.
Yeah, and then to win the NL. And then when the Rockies and Diamondbacks were ahead of the Dodgers in the division, I put 500 on the Dodgers to win the division. I got it at minus 140.
Nice.
That same day, I put 500 on the Red Sox to win the division at plus 130. So
because the Red Sox are on fire too.
And but I think I might have made a mistake about 24 hours ago. I put 500 on the Cubs to win the division at minus 300, and then they lose to Milwaukee the next day. And I think that was a bad bet. I just thought, imagine getting minus 300 on the Cubs to win the division at the beginning of the year.
Well,
but it only pays at 166 profit. And looking back at it, I think it was a mistake.
Well, it certainly would have been if you look at the game last night where they're getting lit up by the Milwaukee Brewers, and John Jay comes in.
Yeah.
And he has to pitch to, was it Domingo Santana? So John Jay, look, outfielder, going to come in. He's going to throw a 56-mile-an-hour heater, and watch Domingo Santana, once again, property of CSN and Major League Baseball, This is not the look you want to have as a batter.
Burn off that outside edge.
You're having fun with this in both dugouts.
Oh,
Teeny got hit on the
Ouch.
backswing.
boom goes the dynamite. That could be. And everyone's laughing.
Yeah.
What a great life you've got. So you make millions of dollars, like millions of dollars. You're getting lit up. Your outfielder is lobbing like bean balls in it while you're losing, and everyone's laughing and having a good time. Baseball must be a good life.
If I had money on the Cubs yesterday and I saw Rizzo laughing like that on the bench
Oh,
down
yeah.
11-2, I would throw the controller at the TV.
Yeah, you'd be steaming.
Oh, man. Oh,
Like,
man.
and that's the whole thing, too. This is what I find interesting about gambling. You always have hope, right?
Yeah.
You're feeling so good, so good. You're so on it. You're just in the zone. You looked at it. You handicapped the game. You're like, whatever. And all of a sudden, boosh. Whatever that thing is, you're like, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
Instant bad mood. At least that's me. The switch goes off.
It's amazing in gambling how the worst case scenario can happen so often. You know, when you're like, well, the worst possible thing that could happen to me right now is, of course, this grand slam, and then next pitch. You know, it's just part of gambling. You have to be able to lose, and it can't destroy you. Like poker players, the worst poker players, guys who have to stop playing poker, they hate losing so much, and they only enjoy winning a little bit. But they hate losing so passionately; it bothers them so much, and then you can't gamble. You have to be able to lose.
So what's the hardest sport to lose on? Because to me, depending on the nature of the sport, okay, so let's say you bet on soccer. Now, the one thing about soccer is it seemingly can last a really long time until your team is down like 1-0. And then all of a sudden that clock starts to melt down. You're like, what are you kidding me? You know, especially if it's a team, it's an underdog or whatever. You haven't done a prop bet, like just, you know, less than one goal in the first half or one of those kinds of bets. But it can be frustrating because it can last a long time if your team's not playing well. Then there's other sports like a shooting gallery. If you're on the wrong side of, let's say, NFL football, when you're on the wrong side of it, you can just see your team getting shit canned. So that's like 2.5, 3 hours, and that I have to walk out of the room. I can't handle it. Like if a team is running the ball down your throat and you're on the other side.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I find baseball tough to watch just because the pitcher has so much power over every situation, and when you make like a strong statement that a certain pitcher is going to pitch wonderfully today, and you just see him falling apart, and every pitch is more like it gets me right in the gut. Like every single pitch I watch, this guy falling apart, I'm falling apart, I can't do it anymore. And then if anybody's around me, they better not say a word to me because I'm just about to.
Okay, so let's talk about then last night at Tampa Bay. So there's Chris Sale. He strikes out 12 and loses.
Yeah, and Faria, the Tampa Bay pitcher, he was just a mid-level prospect. He was a 10th round pick. I thought so. His, if you look at his analytics, his batting average with balls in play is .256, which means he's been lucky. And so when he was up against Sale last night, I was confident in the Red Sox winning that game.
So you were on last night.
I had keyed the Cardinals game to 2 different games. So
okay.
I had keyed. So the Cardinals win in the afternoon. I'm in shape for a giant day.
So it's huge for you.
It was going to be, but both my games lost. I had Houston to beat Toronto because I don't trust Francisco Liriano.
Who would?
And that blew up. And McCullers Jr. Was like a sexy Cy Young pick in the beginning of the year.
They've won more away games. Look at Houston's record away from home. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's only 2 teams that have ever been as good on the road in their first 40 games, and one of them was the 1906 Cubs. Unbelievable.
That's some stats. So there's Donaldson. So we'll look at a little bit of this from last night as well. Not to make things awful for Jimmy the Bag, but Donaldson, here he is, and again they had such a huge inning, and so did Russell Martin. This once again courtesy of AT&T Sports, Major League Baseball, and McCullers. Not the night that he wanted.
Pitch on the way, and that's lined into right center field, and that'll get down for a base hit. 1 run will score as Batista comes in. Martin coming home. Relay to the plate by Altuve, not in time. It's a 2-run single for Donaldson, and it's a 3-2 lead for Toronto. That ends at 0 for 15 for the Blue Jays' third baseman.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like there was such a huge drought that he had. So in a lot of ways, that game just, like I said, when you feel like you're on the right side of things, and if Sale's on the mound, I'm feeling pretty good. Astros against the Blue Jays, just almost straight up, including knowing that Francisco Liriano's on the mound. How are you not on the Astros?
Yeah, and so Liriano is, before that start, he had the third worst, the amount of strikes he throws. He only throws 27.8% of his pitches were strikes, and it was the third lowest in the league.
So what does Jimmy the Bag do when things go wrong? What does Jimmy the Bag do?
You know, I let women take care of me.
You do?
Yeah, when I'm
Oh.
struggling, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
I need a soft touch of a salute. You know, it's just tough. It's just there's people who believe that you can't win in June on baseball, for whatever reason. It's just this constant thing where people think you'll hit 5% of your parlays in June, you won't be able to hit in June, and I've never really believed that. I just think it's just haters, you know. But it was a very tough month. I started so hot, then I just went
You were
ice
on fire.
cold.
You were crazy.
And then I just went ice cold the last couple weeks, and I did my stats. Like, so there's a lot of people who believe you shouldn't ever bet parlays, and that it's just a losing proposition.
Well, then I'd have no bets because
Yeah,
everything
well,
I do is a parlay.
And you go for a big score,
Yeah.
you know. So I made 17 three-game parlays in June, and I only hit 4 of them. But going 4 for 17 at a 24% win rate, I still profited $456 off of my 3-game parlays. In the month, because of my big losing streak, I only made $554, and that's not enough money to enjoy your life.
No, yeah, the Sleuths are they not impressed by that kind of money?
They are not impressed. There's no frog legs, man. How can I get them frog legs when I'm barely making cash, man?
The soft touch of a Sloot. I've never seen that on a Hallmark card, by the way.
Oh man, bumper stickers, T-shirts, man. We got this going on.
Well, of course, I'm a little upset simply because so my parlay started off. You saw it yesterday, so I went 4 for 4 in baseball. That's it's what I try to do going into the weekend. But the CFL, my beloved CFL, is just killing me, Now, do I like the favorites? I like the favorites last night in BC, but I took them to be over just on their own points, 27.5. I thought, can they score 4 touchdowns against Montreal? My feeling was yes. They get 6 points in the first half. They end up winning 23-16. But I don't know. Maybe I need some help that I used to have on previous shows. I used to have some help,
Really?
On the previous shows. Victor Newman used to come in.
Oh my God, Vic Newman?
Yeah, from the Young and the Restless.
Ooh,
Yeah.
is he coming in today?
Where? First of all, I want to say to you, that was a damn terrible intro. I don't know what ditch or dumpster you came from. But you get the hell back there, all right? I don't care your knowledge. The fact is, there is a smell or an odor about you that suggests you've been smoking damn marijuana, all right? So here are my football picks, because Richards needs some help in more ways than one. By the way, for the ladies who are watching on YouTube today, if you are alone, I know what's going on there, right? I don't blame you. I'm a damn handsome man. Here come your football picks for Saturday. The Toronto Argonauts are at the Ottawa Redblacks. It's -4. I've got some news for the Double Blue. It's going to be a double beating. -4 is a gift. I want you to take it, all right? And the Hamilton Tiger Cats travel to Saskatchewan. The beautiful women of Saskatchewan. I've made love to women in Saskatoon. I want you to take the Rough Riders -2.5. They've lost 2 in a row. Hamilton looks terrible this year. Zach Kalaus, you get your damn act together, because I'll tell you what, you're going to lose. Let's go back to, what is your name, Jimmy?
Jimmy the Bag.
Jimmy the Bag, what a charming name. Tell the king of wherever you come from that I said hello. You're damn disgusting, all right? All right, go back to Jimmy. Russell, do your damn job. Go back to Jimmy.
Wow, that's pretty good.
That was-
that's really good. That's
Oh man.
I thought he was a little tough on you though. It's-
I expect that from older folk. you know?
From older rich gentlemen from TV shows. Is that what happens?
But soothing voice. What a
Oh,
soothing
you don't get a
voice.
better voice than that. No, well, I'm sure people have been mad about that today.
Interesting, it's Canadian football that drives him.
You wouldn't think that, would you?
No.
Absolutely. You're watching RawMikeRichards.com on the YouTube or on the actual rawmike.richards.com page. Of course, you can download the podcast if you're listening right now on iTunes. Of course, Jimmy the Bag in with me today. Dave will be back on Monday. But for Jimmy the Bag, too, your star is rising. And because that series that you had, now it has garnered a lot of interest, including you, I think, in the next month or so, you're going to some sort of are you seriously going to Costa Rica?
Costa Rica, baby.
Oh my God, Jimmy the Bag in Costa Rica. That's not a series?
Yeah, we're gonna shoot the whole time while I'm down there.
Oh, excellent. Oh,
Yeah.
very good, very good.
But yeah, it's the NFL betting conference run by Sportsbook Review, and we're doing a big competition called Beat the Bag, and you have to outdo me in your 4 football picks. And
So how do they make these picks? So if it's before the season starts, so are they futures or?
oh no, we're just promoting it for the next 4 or 5 weeks, and a big promo in Costa Rica, and the winner gets $25,000, and it's exciting, man. The bag in between Panama and Nicaragua. What could go wrong? You know, it's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, I think you'll be seeing this in the pages of the Globe and Mail.
Yeah.
Now, if we're taking a look right now at the NFL, what do you like so far? Because I know that Dave looked at over under in terms of total games this year, and he likes New England to be over. I think he said 11.5. And you know what? I think that's a pretty solid bet if you're looking at props. I don't see a lot of people slowing down New England, and if you take a look at their schedule, the Patriots right now, as I said, so if we're looking at to win the conference, if we're looking at numbers like that, for instance. Okay, hold on. That was that's. Do you do college? Do you do college? By the way, I love college football. I just love it.
I do. It's tough. A lot of my friends believe this is the best Patriots team we've ever seen, but it's very difficult to make money with these numbers.
Yeah, the numbers. I mean, if that's what you're betting on, like that kind of thing, I think you have to take more like prop bets and futures and stuff like that. So if I'm looking at, okay, so to win the division, I don't know how much money that's worth. See, the Patriots are a 1-2. If I'm going decimal wise, it's a 1.2.
Yeah, which is the same as -5. It's $500 to win 100. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, are there any dark horses that you like this year? I mean, I know a lot of people talked about maybe a little bit of Oakland. Should they have a year, or even if you're looking at Pittsburgh, because by the numbers, now, here's what I think. So the Super Bowl outright, and then again on the show we use decimals, like a 5.50. What is it when you talk like the fractions? What is the minus? Because I never bet that way. I've never bet that way. Like minus 140, minus 220, whatever. What would be almost like almost 6 times your money?
Yeah, that's plus 600. It's the American version, and I can do both. You can do both on Bet365. I've just Vegas is the way I run.
Right.
So I mean, you're getting plus 450 for the Patriots to win the Super Bowl, 4.5 to 1 on your money.
So in Vegas, if you go that line, you're getting less than you would offshore, because right now I'm seeing a 5.5 on offshore.
Yeah, well, at all these different sites, 5 Dimes, Bet Online, they're all trying to have better odds than like Bet365,
right,
or better odds than Vegas to create new clients. But the Vegas odds aren't good. I don't see I think the Carolina Panthers seem like a chance to at long odds, like they're 22 to 1.
Yeah, that's
to
a
win
big
the
one.
Super Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, if you're looking at the Oakland Raiders, I mean, we got to see how Carr's leg is before we can really have confidence. But at 18 to 1, I mean, that's a real nice number. Falcons at 14 to 1.
But see, for the Raiders at some point, then, because is it the Raiders and the Patriots in Mexico City? Is that the game that's being played?
Yeah.
Because that's good. And if the Raiders got a shot at beating them, it's got to be that game. Because I think that the Patriots probably this year, I don't know, do they lose more than 2 games? They may not.
I don't.
They may not lose 2 games.
They look so good. And so when you look at the over/under here on Bet365 for wins, it's 12.5.
It's gone up. Yeah.
So you're saying that? I mean, that's a risky bet. Think they're going to go 13-3. You want to make some money off of it, and that's all the money is going on the over. So you have to spend $130 to win 100 on that bet.
And that's a long. I mean, talk about waiting for a bet to come in. You got to go through that whole season and hold your breath that they win 13 games.
Yeah.
Which look, do I think they're capable of doing it? Absolutely, I think they can do it. But that's a hard way to make a living on that kind of bet, where you might want to go and take a look at a team like, I don't know, what will Seattle do this year, for instance. I know people talk about Pittsburgh; they're always going to be in it. The Atlanta Falcons, last year's the first year in I don't know how many years they showed up and they were, too legit to quit. If you want to go way back to them. But they acted like the Falcons in the Super Bowl, not taking away from the most miraculous comeback, but how you lose a football game, like even technically when you have that kind of lead in the Super Bowl, look, I talk a lot about the culture of winning, just the pressure of the guys across from you, and it starts to play mind games because you realize how good they are and you're winning.
I'm sure that Dan Quinn has had a lot of sleepless nights in the last couple months. But he was a defensive guru, right? He came from the Seahawks as a defensive specialist. And some of his calls throughout the year were questionable. And it always was a pass-first offense. And you can't do that when you need to run the clock. You can't.
I mean, Matt Ryan's done it since the first second he was on that team. Matt Ryan, coming out of Boston College,
Yeah.
I mean, it was more or less a pro-style offense. I mean, that's why he was pro-ready. And it was going to be that kind of offense. But I agree with you. When you start looking at teams that cannot keep a defense honest. So if I don't respect your run, as a defensive lineman, and depending on what your alignment is, I'm just coming after you until you prove me otherwise. It's really hard to continually win games when you need to be in a track meet to win them. It's just very difficult.
It is. It is. And when you're up against someone like Belichick, you know he's going to focus. He's going to have a plan to put you in an uncomfortable situation. And what happened in the second half was unprecedented. Now, so I had put myself in a tough situation with Seahawks and Packers futures. And so I hedged maybe 2 months before the season ended on the Patriots to win the Super Bowl and to win the conference. So at half at the Super Bowl, my gut was just, it was like I had an ulcer. I knew I was going to lose thousands of dollars.
That's brutal.
And I wasn't talking, and I was like at a Super Bowl party, just like sitting in the
See,
corner.
but that's the question I was asking. See, I'm usually at a Super Bowl party. And so this time I was at my brother-in-law, Uncle Lou. So I'm at Uncle Lou's place. And there's, a bunch of his family, and the young girls are all over the place. So I do what I always do at Super Bowl parties. I'm getting liquored up. I'm getting loaded. And then I'm going to Spotify. And then I'm getting some 80s, 90s dance party going. I'm moonwalking. I'm doing,
Sure. Vic Newman comes out.
Victor Newman's coming out there. And I look and I go, hey, what's the fucking score? What, are you kidding me? But see, by then, if I don't have action on it, and that's why I'm kind of, that's what I do, then it's over. Because people say, do you really enjoy sports? I go, of course I do. But what if you're not betting on them? It depends on the sport, because I love football. That's my favorite sport. I love football. But once you're losing,
It's tough.
and you're not going to win, people are like, so did you see the end of the Super Bowl? No, what happened? What, are you kidding me? Oh, who won? Really? New England? Big comeback? Wow, that's interesting. By the way, I kind of lost interest. Because I've never put, and most people know this who watch the show, because I have the crazy parlays. If I get caught on number game 6 or 7, which is generally kind of what happens, I don't lose a lot of money. I may have not put a lot of money on it. Can you say publicly right now, what is the biggest single-time wager that you have made on an event?
Well, I lost 10 grand in last year's Wimbledon. It was the
On
dumbest.
tennis?
On tennis.
No!
Yeah.
No!
It was bad. It was really bad. It was a
Why tennis?
It was bad.
Look at me talking like Jerry. Why would you do that? Why would you bet on tennis?
I was told by some insiders that Raonic could win Wimbledon, so I got him at 16-1, and put a nice chunk of change on it, and then Djokovic got eliminated early,
So you were excited.
and then for whatever reason I just started betting more and more on Raonic at that point, because my thinking was it would be so easy to hedge because I got such. Like I was getting 16-1, I was getting such crooked numbers, so I would be easily able to hedge as the matches came down. So he when he was against Federer, if Federer had won, I was going to be up multiple thousands of dollars. It was a perfect hedge, and it was fine if Raonic kept winning. But when Murray made it to the finals on the other side, Murray was such a big favorite
Yeah.
that I couldn't fully hedge the finals, and the only way to actually hedge it was to pick what set Murray would win it in. And so if Raonic won one set in the finals, I was going to break even. If he won 2 sets in the finals, I was going to be up like, $6 or $7 grand. And
But didn't he get all hurt or something, or didn't
no,
he?
all 3 sets went to a tiebreak.
Oh, I couldn't remember. Yeah,
And-
because tennis is not, I got to be honest. I can't pronounce the names. It's too hard for me. I'm from a small town in Ontario. There's some Zs in there. There's a couple of, I think, a stroke through a 0 or whatever they have going on. I can't say their names, so pretty much I'm out.
It was the worst weekend one of the worst weekends of my life because all the matches were at like 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, brutal.
So I
Yeah, not even a good time. Not only do I hate tennis, way too early.
I couldn't sleep, and then because I had so much money riding on the action, and then I had to be up at 5:30 in the morning watching.
I can't believe you
matches.
bet on tennis though. I'm stunned.
It was a terrible, terrible mistake, and then when Raonic didn't win a set, and I was down, it was my worst case scenario.
No. Do you have to tell the wife and go, honey? Because she can be tough on you sometimes. I know you're afraid of her a little bit.
Well, she's Vietnamese,
Yeah.
Northern Vietnamese, and they don't mess around.
No, you can't. And you say, honey, I just lost $10,000 on tennis.
Yeah.
Does it turn into like a Chuck Norris movie all of a sudden? Are you putting some sort of pen in underground in the dirt?
There's not a lot of high fives and dancing, man.
I guess not.
No.
Wow, I have to admit I've never lost. The biggest bet I think I've ever made is $250. That's the biggest wager I've ever made because I figured out on a 6-game parlay on the way that I bet 6 games NFL games on $250 is $10,000, and I lost the first game, and I won the last 5 because that's what happens to me. I get caught up and I get excited, and I was devastated. Devastated for $250.
My first $1,000 bet was on the Anaheim Ducks Ottawa Senators Stanley Cup final, and this guy named Action Jackson with tats all over him was talking about how the Senators were going to win the cup, and I confronted him about it.
You confronted a guy named Action Jackson with sleeves.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he said, "I'll bet you $1,000 on this," and I was like,
That's the guy you bet?
Yeah.
Oh.
And when he paid me, I was so shocked
Oh,
that
I'd
he was
be
actually
afraid.
going to pay me.
Yeah.
And I blew about $400 at the bar. It just oh man. So
Do you buy Sloots drinks?
of course,
Yeah.
do whatever it takes,
Yeah.
man. They're angels.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, man. Do whatever to get a smile on their face.
What is a Jimmy the Bag cocktail or drink? Like, what are you having at the bar? So it's a
I-
good night for Jimmy the Bag. Let's say you win $1,000. What are you ordering at the bar?
I always order the same thing. I drink Jameson neat.
Jameson, neat, the same as me.
Really?
Same as me. Well, I'm an Irish person.
Yeah.
I'm drinking that drink. It's beautiful.
Yeah. No cubes, man. Just yeah. That's
Yeah, no. When I first started, ice, and then when you're back in Ireland, Dublin, they're looking at you going, "Are you a fucking idiot?" I'm going, "No. I'm sorry." Like I was all nervous the first time I went to Ireland. I was like, "Can I have?" I talked in that voice too. Can I have Jameson's with ice on ice? I'm fucking. Yeah, like they look like I was just, and they think I'm a Yank too, which makes it even worse at that time.
Yeah, for sure.
You mean the Jam on the fucking rocks? Yeah, that. Because I'm going, don't do the Ryan Ginger thing. Like, don't go in. Now, they do promote sometimes putting ginger ale with Jameson's. I'd never do it. I wouldn't do it. If you're having Jameson's, have Jameson's.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I drink the hard bar. Drink the hard liquor and I drink it fast.
Because you don't want to get upset like this. Now, this has been on YouTube for quite a while, but I caught it today. It's still fucking. It just kills me. I know a lot of people are mean to Americans, and I'm not one of those. I certainly don't hammer on my American friends. I lived there for a year. I've worked there time and time again. But when you want Americans to not look good, it generally is going to have something to do with a woman like this.
I have an announcement to make to y'all, to the people of America. I was at this here McDonald's on Dorset. It's Monday night.
Beautiful hair.
I was just disrespected in there. Almost got in a fight with the gal in there.
No.
First of all, my first issue is the drive-thru was filled all the way up, and I had to walk inside.
Oh.
So then I'm already mad because I got to get out my car and go inside. So I go inside. I politely say, "Hey, can I have a McRib meal, large size with the Dr. Pepper?"
Of course.
And the lady said, Well, okay, that'd be 658. I said, ain't you forgetting something? Ma'am? And she said, well, what? I said, you're supposed to offer me the extra McRib for $1 when you buy the McRib meal. You ain't gonna believe it. She looked me up and down.
No.
And she said, well, it don't look like you need the extra McRib. Excuse me, bitch. I throat punched that bitch. I knocked her ass down. So if you come to the Dorset McDonald's and you see a lady named Charlene in there, tell her Carla sent you. And then you throat punch her or punch her in the cooter. I don't give a damn.
Oh, cooter.
This is against my civil rights.
Of course it is.
Fuck you, McDonald's.
Oh,
no.
On Dorset. Not all the other ones. I like all the other ones.
No. She likes all the other ones.
Oh, man, she needs some Vic Newman in her life.
Well, I think even Victor's that's a tough call for Vic. That's a tough call for Victor. Because here's what's weird. You explode like that on YouTube, and this is the world, right? This is the world of the internet. Someone's making a song out of it. So this is courtesy of, I don't know who it is. I think it actually says. But this is the Racketeers. The Racketeers. And this is called M'Excuse Me, Bitch. The remix.
I was just disrespected in there. Almost got in a fight with the gal in there. My first issue is driving was spilled all the way up, and I had to
It's actually pretty good.
I have not been to the young people of America. I was at this here McDonald's on Dorset. It's a Monday night. I was just disrespected in there. Almost got in a fight with the gal in there. First of all, my first issue is driving was spilled all the way up, and I had to walk inside. So then I'm already mad because I got to get out more and go inside. So I go inside. I pull out and say, hey, can I have a McRib meal? Large size with the Dr. Pepper. And the lady said, well, okay, that'd be 658. I said, ain't you forgetting something, ma'am? And she said, what? I said, you're supposed to offer me the extra McRib for $1 when you buy the McRib meal. You ain't gonna believe it. She looked me up and down. And she said, well, don't look like you need it. Extra McRib. Excuse me, bitch.
Yeah, there you go.
No cooter punch in that
M'Excuse me, bitch. Now tell me you're not going to use that at some point.
Oh, excuse me, bitch. I think cooter punch, man. I wonder if McGregor is going to try and punch Mayweather in the cooter.
Well, not that Conor McGregor wouldn't say that. Look at you, you're a wee man. I'll punch you in the cooter. Actually, in Ireland, they would use the word gee.
Is that right?
I'll punch you in the gee, which is an insult for another man to say another person.
Gee.
Gee.
I didn't know that.
That's why you can kind of snicker when you watch the Olympics and they come out in judo, karate, and the thing you wear is called a gi. It's a wee bit funny. I don't mind saying. Now we've got a huge announcement coming up very shortly. Actually, a bunch. I got some really good news last night as well. But we got so much stuff coming up. But we got a huge night that will involve you and the McGregor Mayweather fight. People are flip flopping all over the place. I even see Joe. So Rogan, I mean, not surprisingly, is kind of giving McGregor at least a chance. I just think it's real difficult. But it seems to be. And it's not 50-50. Don't get me wrong. I think most boxing people are saying, I don't know how in God's name with the bigger gloves and the whole thing, but that Conor's supposed to win. But I'm still a huge night, I think. I just don't know if you're betting. You must be betting on the number of rounds it goes. I can only see that where the money is.
Yeah, we were going over the money last night. If you say over 9.5, you get even money. If you say over 10.5, you get plus 120. And I think that's where I'm leaning towards. Also, if you take Mayweather by a unanimous decision, you get plus 225 to 1 on your money.
That's not. So you're hoping that if it does go to a decision, Conor's that's not a bad play either. What are you thinking you're going to do?
That's why I think I'm going to take Mayweather. I think I'm going to make two bets. One over 10.5 rounds, and the other one will be Mayweather by a decision. Unanimous decision.
See, because I don't know if he knocks out Conor McGregor. I mean, that's pretty tough. That's going to be pretty tough to do. So to get a unanimous decision is not bad money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked at how much late money has been going on McGregor. I believe, and I'm starting to question it, but I've believed the whole time that the sharp money, people are going to bet millions of dollars on Mayweather, and I think that number is going to go up. I think it's going to happen late. But I'm starting to question it more and more when all these people, all these so-called experts are coming out saying McGregor has a chance.
I don't know how. I mean, God love him. He's one of God's people. Jesus was Irish.
Was
It's true, yeah. He was 30 years old, had no job, and he lived with his mother.
Ooh.
That's Irish. I don't know how he does it. I really, again, the thinking being that the best fighters in the world have tried to knock Mayweather down, try to hit him, just get a glove on him. And none of them, the Manny Pacquiao's, and again, that came way too late. But think of Oscar De La Hoya. Even though that probably wasn't still in De La Hoya's, that wasn't the Golden Boy's prime. I mean, if the fight was years beforehand, but what's he going to fight Mayweather when he was 10? You know, it's hard. But of his era, the guys that went out to try to even land a glove on him couldn't get close.
The McGregor fans and believers are all pointing at one stat, and that is age. They're all saying McGregor 28, Mayweather 40. And they're all saying when you hit 40, you slow down.
It's true, which is why I think that fight goes a little longer than people think. So if you can't hit him, he'll just sit there and dodge the punches for 10, 11 rounds. Or what are they saying it is? How many rounds?
It's a 12-round fight.
12.
And the over-under is at 9.5.
Yeah, I still like the over in that, I think. I think it does go to the distance, though. Because Mayweather's not known as going out and knocking a guy out. And I still don't think with those gloves and the abilities and the balls of McGregor, I don't think you're knocking him down. I don't think he's getting knocked out.
Well, you never know with boxing, and when it goes to the cards. I mean, we just saw the Horn Pacquiao fight, and
that was crazy. Fight.
It was nuts. Like if you watch it, there's no way. If I was judging that fight, I have a 117, 111 Pacquiao.
Yeah.
I can't even.
Well, it is being disputed, is it not?
It's being disputed, but. I mean,
or are you just getting a rematch? But still, I mean, how old is Horn?
Horn is isn't he? He's younger.
Like I don't think he's 30.
I thought he was 28.
Yeah, I don't think he's 30. So Pacquiao's just kind of throwing. I mean, I think sometimes throwing these boxers a bone. I mean, look where the fight was. I mean, Pacquiao's it's a gift. Was it New Southwest Wales or New Southwest wherever it was down under?
Yeah, it was in Australia.
Yeah. So. To me, I look at it, and that has a sort of an exhibition kind of feel to it a little bit. Because why would Pacquiao need to do that? I don't know. I think he gave that guy a gift.
Yeah.
And then he loses.
Yeah.
So there'll be another fight.
Yeah, there will likely.
Don't you think? I mean, now, do you bet on boxing much? Or UFC?
I do. I bet on both. I'm very excited about the Canelo fight coming up against Golovkin. But I enjoy boxing more than UFC because I don't have a wrestling background. Like when they get to the floor, when they're on the mat,
the ground and pound.
I don't have enough knowledge of what's going on, and I don't get excited until they're back up on their feet.
See, it's tough because in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Royce Gracie, and I had a chance to have him on the show too. And,
nice.
And I was like a little afraid because I was going to say, because I've always said, because those things go to the mat because that's what he does. And he squeezes the guy like an anaconda until he taps out. That can take 25 minutes. With all the rounds that go by the time the guy actually, because he's going to break his arm or something, then he taps out and everyone cheers. I'm like, well, I didn't enjoy that. The one thing about Conor McGregor and some of those other guys that stand up and strike a little bit is that it's pretty good action.
It's exciting.
It is exciting. And I do like that part.
And the last giant fight we had, the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, was so disappointing. Pacquiao having the shoulder injury and still going through with the match. And I only hope for the future of boxing that this McGregor-Mayweather fight is exciting.
If it can be decent, I think it's a win. Like if it's entertaining and yet maybe even technically not the best boxing, it's still a win for both of them.
Yeah, and there's an idea that Mayweather will have some difficulty with McGregor being a southpaw and
oh, I wouldn't worry about that. I honestly, those are the kinds of things that I wouldn't. I mean, this guy technically on the defensive side of boxing is just so literally one of the best we've ever seen in the history of that sport.
It's clinical,
right? So I just don't. I mean, I love it, but boy, I'm telling you right now, the Jamesons that night,
yeah,
for lots of reasons, is it's precision over power is the way that works, and so we'll be sitting there getting loaded up with, I'm telling you, hundreds of people when I announce what we're going to do. It's going to be crazy.
Sweet, man. So exciting.
Going to be crazy. Other things that are crazy, boy, some of the money in basketball sometimes is just, oh, man, I don't know. So I see the money that, do you see Kelly Olynyk, what he got?
50 over 4.
50. Now, look, I realize, and you kind of watched how the Celtics and what they were building and how this was going to go. You knew that they had to get rid of something. Getting Gordon Hayward the way he did, but for him, $50 million over 4 years. Like, I look at Miami, I'm like, they're also in that pile of so what? I don't see anything coming out of Miami. You know what? I'm going to be curious to see a healthy Philadelphia 76er group of young studs. Half of them, Simmons has not even played a game. But I'm just going to be really curious to see how good Philadelphia is, because at some point, just like the Edmonton Oilers, you can't get the best players literally in the game, the young guys, over a period of 4 or 5 years. At some point, it's got to show up. J.J. Redick comes over, so he'll be their veteran guy.
$23 million
yeah, that's all. See,
year
they
for
overpay.
J.J. Redick?
Yeah,
I mean, that
they
just
overpay.
made no sense to me.
Except what I think he's going to do, because to those young guys, J.J. Redick's a god. J.J. Redick is a god. When he was killing it at Duke, they were like, their eyes were huge watching him as a lot of us did, thinking the guy is just unbelievable. His game's changed a little bit. He's a better defender. Now he looks nastier. Now he's covered in ink.
Yeah.
That one, trust me, with Coach K, that wasn't happening at Duke.
No.
That wasn't happening. So he's not supposed to be the difference maker. Those young studs are going to be the difference makers. But I think for if I'm going to make a comparison, what they want him to do is what I think the Maple Leafs want Patrick Marleau to do. Like, no one's going to be in awe of Patrick Marleau at this point in his career after 19 years in San Jose. But if you're Austin Matthews, if you're Marner, if you're an Elander, and you're going, Patrick Marleau is on our team now, that's huge. And he is a winner in a lot of ways compared to these guys who haven't, they just started their careers. That's why I didn't hate that movie. The money, I don't know. But Patrick Marleau, I think it's going to be interesting, just like JJ on that team. That's how I see it.
I think that's a sweet story, but I don't.
You're not buying it.
I don't buy it, and I'm not going to be buying it, and I don't think anybody in Toronto's going to be buying it when Marlowe's 40 years old and you're paying him $6.25 million a year. I think it was a mistake.
I think he has to be good for 2 years for that to work. If he can give me 2 years, I'm happy with it.
Both of them, J.J. Redick included, it's just when you've got guys like Ben Simmons, when you've got on the basketball court and then on the ice, when you've got guys like Matthews, and you don't want to be putting Marleau out there for 20 minutes a game. And who is he really going to help the dressing room that much? They talk about Marleau being an Iron Man, hasn't missed a game since 2009. Is that going to continue through his 37, 38, 39? He's going to be 38 when the season starts.
Yeah, so I need from him, for this to work, I need a season or two. He's a bridge guy to me in terms of where they're going. That's it. That's all I see it.
I think it was a bad signing.
You wouldn't have done it.
I would not have done it, and I wouldn't have signed Redick either. I think what's going on in Philadelphia is very exciting. I think an incredible futures bet, and I might put 500 on this. Is that
a futures bet is that's a cool thing to do. I agree with you on that.
Ben Simmons will win Rookie of the Year. That will be my futures bet. I'm going to take Ben Simmons to win Rookie of the Year. I think that you want all the time and all the energy to put towards the young players right now, and I just don't see how Marleau. I just don't get it. He's going to be 38 years old when the season starts. Picking up Hainsey and Marleau, to me, just
like the Hainsey thing, I don't understand. And as we saw with the fake Mike Babcock yesterday, some Leaf fans very upset about that particular incident. The Hainsey one I don't get, because at best he's what, you're 6, I guess. I don't know.
I think that you focus all your energy in the youth, and then you get the team to age together and grow up together, and you don't need a 38-year-old leading the way.
Because, see, I think for Hayward, I think what happens, so number one, he goes to his Butler coach. He goes to Brad Stevens, and, of course, that's 3/4 of it, if not more of that. But also the pitch I think that they make to him, and also where he could have gone, I suppose. If he comes to the East, you're getting an easier ride. Now, people are going to say, yeah, but LeBron. Well, it might be LeBron for a year. So if LeBron goes to the Lake Show, which everyone seems, it's almost like predetermined that he's going to LA the following year, who's the best team in the East? Well, you could make an argument that it's Boston. I think that's part of that sales pitch. That, yeah, okay, we get it. Cleveland's the number 1 team in the East, but we're number 2. But we're only number 2 as long as LeBron's there. And it's just so weird, I think, sometimes in sport that we're actually talking this way openly. That one guy is the dominant top of the pyramid, that nobody else has a chance. I don't think I've ever talked that way in basketball. Even when Michael Jordan played, I don't remember just giving it to them. I mean, they still had to work against some very big teams, which is why a lot of people argue the NBA just doesn't have the talent that it used to. Teams aren't as good. And when those teams had to win beforehand, even with Scottie Pippen and Jordan and those teams, they were beating like legendary guys on the other side. Who's LeBron beating? Like when you beat Boston or Milwaukee or a Raptors team, or who are you really beating? Are you making a comparison that those teams gave them the same hard run that the Michael Jordans got? And I agree with that argument. That I do agree with.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think LeBron cemented his legacy with the comeback down 3-1 last year or 2 years ago. The Celtics move with Hayward. I can see their small ball lineup looking so good, but I can't see their big unit. And then so we just have this just in from 20 minutes ago. The Celtics have traded Avery Bradley to the Pistons for Marcus Morris. So that will open up the cap room.
Yeah.
And Marcus Morris is a tough guy, so that will help. But I think that Jaylen Brown, who they picked 2 years ago, 3rd overall, and then Tatum, who they picked 3rd overall this year, I think they're going to be dominant players in the NBA. And I think this Celtics team is going to be extremely exciting, but we know that it's difficult to mesh when you have all these new players. In fact, I think that you'll get a really live number on the Raptors to win the division this year because the Celtics will be huge favorites, and we know it takes time to figure out how everything's going to work.
Because on paper, I don't think it's any secret that I don't think the Raptors at this very moment aren't as good as they were when the season ended.
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
Tucker leaving like Patrick Patterson. It just didn't really see, to me. It just didn't move them. Like, he's a great guy, but it didn't move the needle for me. Tucker did though. That's a loss to me.
Tucker did. He signed for a lot of money in Houston, so more money than I was expecting him to get, and more money than we could have offered him after the $100 million to Lowry.
Okay, so here's what's weird about the world now. This is the thing that I'm not used to. So there's Carmelo Anthony from the most dysfunctional team in the NBA, the New York Knicks. Just if you're a Knick fan, boy, you better have some Jamesons. If Jamesons are going down, dude, I don't blame you. So Melo saying, "Yeah, I'll waive the no trade if I picking these teams. If I either go to Houston or Cleveland." Oh wow. So who do you give up? Like how do these? Like, that's the tricky part that the Knicks are in right now is who they want to build. So Porzingis is that young guy that they're going to build around. Who do you think you're actually getting in return? Because they say they're not going to take your aging sort of players. Well, at some point, if Melo goes to Cleveland, let's say it's Cleveland, he wants to go play with his friend LeBron. Okay, so now they got for that almost $30 million or whatever it's going to be. So you got to find another 20 something to give away. So people say, well, Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Kevin Love is $22 million. But does Kevin Love fit into the new philosophy of the New York Knicks of going young? Maybe a little faster, maybe a little smaller, or however they're going to do that, but definitely going to be a younger thing to build around. You're going to take that $22 million contract for a guy that it's not a fit.
The trade would have already been made. They don't want Kevin Love.
No, because it doesn't fit. It's not a fit.
The only way to move him is to buy him out, and that's what Jackson wanted. That was what the big fight with Dolan was over, whether they were going to buy out Melo, and Dolan said, we're not buying out Melo. So Jackson ended up leaving the team, but still, because the Cavs have that $5.1 million exemption available on their roster, and the only way that Melo can fill that spot is if he's bought out by the Knicks. If the Knicks really want him off their team, they're going to have to buy him out.
Like Phil Jackson, what a sweet deal that was for the last how many years that was.
Oh, he gets $12 million a year?
Like, is he sitting on this ranch and he's sitting there and he's thinking of all these things in the universe that Phil likes to think of, and then I don't know, maybe there's an email, something about the Knicks. He's like, oh yeah, right. Hold on, I better send this back. Play better defense. Send.
What a mess.
That was the biggest waste of time. Now, I'm not even saying that he didn't necessarily equate into today's game, but $12 million?
$60 million 5-year contract Jackson got. And then we just saw Gilbert was trying to bring Chauncey Billups into Cleveland, and the rumor is that he only offered him $1.5 to $2 million a year, and Billups wanted more money to start the front office job that we know that Billups will take at some point. But $60 million for 5 years.
No, what a dream. That's like Russell's gig here. Does nothing, lies to people. He's very jealous of what happens on the show. If something goes wrong, it's because I hear him talk to people. They think they're so fucking good. I'm going, what was that, Russell? No, nothing. Boy, your hair looks nice, Mr. Richards.
Russell
like
needs,
it's just a joke.
Russell
really
needs
is a joke.
more Vic Newman.
Yeah, yeah, I think everyone needs more Vic. We'll get that up later on today. Before we go, what about some? You must have some magical picks for tonight. I can't believe with the weekend coming. You have some. Do you have something on the ball tonight?
I do. There's some exciting stuff. I've got a 3-game parlay tonight at plus 228. It starts with Scherzer and the Nats over R.A. Dickey and the Braves. Dickey's pitched really well lately.
Okay, let me find some dramatic, because we have like 3 songs that we play over and over again. Let's try this. Okay, here we go.
Oh yeah, love it.
Now it's time for Jimmy the Bag and his weekend magical picks of love.
Starting with the Nats
Here we
over
go.
the Braves. Scherzer versus R.A. Dickey. Scherzer is the best pitcher in the league right now, and even though Dickey's thrown 3 quality starts in a row, he's still a knuckleball pitcher. And those who can pitch, and those who can't pitch, teach, and those that can't teach or pitch learn how to throw the knuckleball. And they're like, yeah, this guy's got the fastest knuckleball ever. That's like being the best kazoo player. So, yeah, I got Scherzer over Dickey. I got Nats over the Braves at minus 250. I'm tying that with the Diamondbacks over the Reds, Greinke against Edelman. And then I'm also tying it with the Yankees at home over the Brewers. So you're getting minus 185 with the Yankees, minus 192.
Who's on the mound for the Yanks?
Jordan Montgomery.
Okay.
And it's not even that Montgomery's pitching that well. It's that Junior Guerrera is pitching so poorly. He was throwing 94 last year when he was good. And this year he's throwing 90 miles an hour, and he's just getting completely lit up.
And you said that's what you do. Your philosophy is don't necessarily load up on the guy because the guy's a great pitcher. You look for the guy that you're going to bet against.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who's going to get lit up?
Yeah. So who's bringing the gas can to the mound?
Yeah,
that's
man.
what you're saying.
Yeah, man. Who's going to get lit up like Courtney Love in a bathtub full of toasters? That's what I look for. So that's my
That's your picks for tonight.
3-game parlay at plus 228. I'm going to put $300 on that. And sit back and just let the money roll in, man. Frog legs tonight, Sleuts.
Frog legs for the Sleuts. That's how he works. That is Jimmy the Bag in here today for Dave Bastel. Awesome job. Here we go. A great Friday.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep. You want to go do karate in the garage? Yep. It's time!
I still can't. Buffer's got to be doing that job too. August the 26th. That's his, right?
Oh, for sure. Somebody in his family at least.
There's got to be a buffer in there somewhere. Jimmy the Bag, thanks so much for coming in. Great job, buddy.
Thanks so much for having me. Always a treat, Mike. You're the best.
So awesome. And the star is rising, and you can still see him on rawmikeRichards.com. And also, you heard today some picks by Victor Newman. What? Have yourself a great weekend. We got some pretty big announcements next week. I keep saying that. I know I do, but I do. Subscribe to rawmikeRichards.com and, of course, on the YouTube channel. And have yourself a great weekend.